Hey, everybody. This is Mike with Riding in the Ozarks. And tonight we have my beautiful bride, Firecracker, up there. And then my buddy, Steve, Bagger Baiter's here. And kind of the agenda for tonight is just to let people ask me questions about the press event at Las Vegas that I just went to last week. Harley Davidson put on. We got back last Thursday night, so we haven't even been home a week. Thought we'd let people ask about the event, what we did, how they did it, what I got to learn or experience and what I didn't, what we had time for, all those kinds of things. So um, tonight, instead of leading the show, I'm going to be the guy that answers the questions, and we're going to let you guys ask the questions, and we're going to let Steve be the mouthpiece for everybody out there in the chat.
Yeah. Hey, guys. Welcome to the live. As you guys all know, these two beautiful souls got to go to Vegas via Harley Davidson Corporate, which I think is a really cool deal. And I know they were very excited about it. And I know that earlier today you did a very, very, very in-depth and really good quality video about the CVO ST Road Glide. And I don't know if you want to just touch quickly on a couple of key points that really stood out to you on that motorcycle.
Yeah, I can. And also I want to touch on real quick before we get too far into this, that we're going to be hanging out in just a couple days, right, Steve?
That is correct. St. Louis.
Not East St. Louis. St. Louis proper. We're not going to the strip clubs. We're going to Cycle Showcase.
We are.
Friday night's the builders party, and then Saturday we're going to be at the show all day. And cornbread's in the house. There's Will. Favorite meal in Vegas. The only thing I actually ate in Vegas was at the airport, I think, because we stayed in. I guess maybe we should talk about where we stayed at. Steve, what do you think?
Yeah. So I was going to mention that when you told me where you were staying, I was super excited for you because some years ago I was lucky enough to go out to Lake Las Vegas, which is out east of town, and it's a beautiful 5-star residential golf course resort. What did you guys think of that area in your 5-star hotel?
So I'll talk about the area a little bit, and then I'll let Firecracker tell you about where we stayed and who was coming in right after we left, because she was kind of excited about that. So we stayed at Westin Lake Las Vegas, which is about a 30-minute drive from downtown or from the airport area, but it is an easy ride out of there to get into the desert. So we did one day at Valley of Fire. We'll talk about that a little bit. We did one day at the racetrack. We got in Friday night.
No, we did not.
Or I mean, Monday night. But Firecracker was not on Harley's dime. So for her to go, we paid for her flight. We rented a car so she would have transportation. They didn't pick up any part of that tab. That was, they were gracious enough to let her come stay at the resort with me, but she wasn't part of the official Harley launch event, and they didn't pick up any of the tab for that. That was all on me, just because I don't want anybody else thinking that I brought my wife and Harley paid for it and then they want to bring their wife. That's not how that worked. I asked and they were gracious enough to allow us to both come, because I turned them down at the 120th because she couldn't come with me. And that's not how we roll. We go to these events and stuff, do this together. So beautiful area. Like you said, Steve, Firecracker, tell them about the resort, where we stayed and what was happening when we left.
So the resort was a really nice place. I think they had 1, 2, 3 restaurants on there. They had their own bar. And we found out while we were there that was the resort that the Kansas City Chiefs was staying at for the Super Bowl. So we left on Thursday, and the Chiefs, they were going pretty much on lockdown. And they said like the whole town was kind of like on lockdown. If you didn't live there, you weren't allowed to come and go. The resort decorated the trees. Like this palm tree was decorated with red lights, and then the next one was white. So they were getting it ready for the Chiefs coming down. But it was a really nice place, really nice scenery. And I mean, not that I stayed there more than Mike. He was busy doing everything else, so I probably got to see a little more than him. I don't know, but it was really nice.
So Mike, when once you showed up and you congregated with Harley Davidson, can you run us through kind of who, some of the corporate people that you were able to meet with Harley Davidson?
So yeah, I'll give you a quick rundown from that aspect. On Monday night, we got there and there was kind of an informal dinner. We met with the public relations guy that I've dealt with in the past. There were 3 or 4 other big channels there: Traveling Tall, Cycle Fanatics, Robert Simmons, Be the Boss of Your Own Motorcycle, a few other people. Some people came in late. Ryan from Law Abiding Biker got there late and stuff, but it was kind of really humbling to me. I mean, I pulled in the rental car. April met with her parents and went gambling, and I got the rental car and I went straight to the resort to make it to this dinner. Got there just in time and to change shirts and go down to dinner. But as I pulled in, I kind of fanboyed out. It wasn't even over a Harley Davidson executive or a YouTuber. I pulled up and was going to park to find out where I could park the car, what lot or whatever else. And as I'm pulling up, Kyle Wyman is parking right up by the front doors, getting out of the car. And I rolled the window down and I yell, "Hey, Kyle." So he walks over to the door like I'm somebody that knows him. I'm like, "I don't know you, man, but I'm a big fan." And I just recognized you. I said, "I'll be riding with you this weekend some." And so that was really cool. So a lot of these content creators were already hanging out kind of in the lounge area. We went down to sit down to eat, and Kyle Wyman and James Rispoli were already sitting down at the table. So, of course, I mean, I tried not to be too big of a fanboy, but I sat down right next to Kyle Wyman across from James Rispoli and had dinner and listened to them talk about racing and stuff. Howard from Headshots Ride sat beside me. He was there. So I got to meet him and talk to him a little bit at dinner and stuff. There were a few other Harley individual corporate employees there at the table, but the content creators, most of them sat at a different table. A lot of these guys have been to these events together before, and it was obvious they knew each other and, were catching up and stuff. And that's great. I mean, it's nice to see that friendly atmosphere, if I go back, that I'm going to be welcomed in that way. And by the end of the weekend, I was. I mean, they just didn't know me that night really. And it was kind of humbling for me because I could look around the room and tell that I was definitely the smallest channel there by a margin. I mean, the next biggest channel is twice as big as mine, and they're a full-time content creator. So, I kind of felt like I didn't know why I was there or how I managed to get there, but, it was still great to be there. So they had a very, planned out schedule for us on Tuesday and Wednesday. Tuesday, we went to the track and we rode the new CVO Road Glide ST with the Wyman brothers. They did us some coaching on braking techniques and things for riding these motorcycles on the track and being able to handle them and make them perform to the best of our abilities. And then Wednesday, we took the new Street Glides and Road Glides out into the Valley of Fire, which is just west of where we stayed at. So we got to ride out there. Now, on Tuesday night, after the Road Glide ride on the track, Jochen Zeitz came in. On Monday night, I saw Brad Richards. I talked to him for just a few minutes, but I got to talk to him a little more on Tuesday night. So Brad Richards was there, the VP of Design. The CEO came out for dinner on Tuesday and Wednesday night. And then let's see, some of the engineers were there, some of the design guys there. The vice president of marketing was there that I've met before. PJ was there. Paul James. He's in actually some of their release videos and stuff, and he's very involved in the motorcycle development and launch and marketing aspects and PR and those things. So I've met PJ and Teo and Matt before at Sturgis. So everybody else was new, and I was surprised that it appears that Brad Richards knew who I was, or at least maybe he was coached on it right before, but he seemed to have an idea who I was and stuff. So that was really cool. I know from talking to the engineers, several of them knew who I was. They've seen my videos talking about their products and things like that. So, oh, look, somebody's in the chat over here. Full Tank Adventure says, well, not the smallest. Well, the smallest that was, invited by the PR team. Well, but it was, really cool event. They treat us well. I mean, for me, I had, dinner and food was catered wherever we went or was done there at the resort. So like when we did the track, they had food at a little place we could go inside and eat at lunchtime. I assume it was catered in. And then when we went out to the desert, some bus drove out there and put tablecloths on these picnic tables, had, sandwiches and dessert, red velvet cake. I went off my diet for a minute.
Whoops.
So yeah, found my weakness, but it was a beautiful place out there in the desert. And Jochen, the CEO, rode with us and several of the executives and stuff. So like when we would break for lunch, we could ask them questions about the bikes and things like that. The beginning, before we went to the track, they had a technical presentation where they kind of went over the bikes so we would know about the features before we started riding them in case we wanted to talk about them during our recordings and things like that and stuff. But it was my first time at a press event. And I talked to, there was a guy there, Patrick, who's on the Chase Two Wheels channel. He's on that channel and he's been to lots of press events, but he says nobody does them quite like Harley. So TFL Bike was there, and they also have a TFL Automotive channel, and they go to a lot of press events. And he says, yeah, this is their events are not like some of the other car events and things he goes to. It's very cool. So
if I'm understanding you correctly, they pull out the red carpet and it's very well organized.
Yeah. And I don't want people to get the wrong idea of like, it wasn't like, it was they treated you well, but like out in the desert, they didn't like go extravagant. We had little sandwiches and chips and, they had pre-cut up slices of carrot or red velvet cake and things like that. The food was good, but it wasn't like, they were, trying to live a lavish lifestyle or present a lavish lifestyle. They provided us with what we needed to be able to, have a good time, eat, that kind of thing. The ice water, soda and stuff, but they were very good to us. And like the day of the track, we all rode a shuttle bus together to the track and rode back. So everybody's recording on the bus and talking and visiting and stuff. So it was very, very cool.
Were you able to connect with the other creators quite a bit? And was there one or two that you really, really connected with and created a little bit of a bond?
Well, yeah, I got to talk to Howard some. Maybe I was a little more comfortable because I don't know if this was his first event, but he's a channel that's closer to my size and stuff. So we connected and we talked some. It's obvious that some of these guys that have done this before kind of have a system. They take photos of each other. They take videos of each other. They probably share that. I took some video of Ryan and of Matt. I didn't get a lot of it because I didn't really have a camera set up for that. I hadn't anticipated recording someone else. So, kind of near the end, I took my camera off my helmet and just kind of held it out, to get some shots of some of the other guys. And I shared that with them if they want to use it in their video so they could have a clip of from someone else's perspective of them riding. But it was cool to see, content creators collaborating and helping each other. And nobody was there trying to one up or be better than someone else. Everybody's just doing their thing and helping each other get it done.
And another big question I have for you is, it looks like everybody kind of had their own gear on. Was there any official rules as to what you had to wear for safety and that sort of thing? And then leading into that, just how fast could you go? Was that all kind of regulated?
So anytime you're riding a company-owned vehicle that Harley Davidson has, you have to sign a release. They have rules about, that like on the road, you're not supposed to speed or ride reckless, no drinking alcohol before riding, those kinds of standard things to protect your corporation. You have to have boots. You have to have long sleeves. You have to have sturdy full length jeans. You have to have a long sleeve shirt and a DOT approved helmet and gloves. So I wore a pair of Odin Street MX gloves that I have that I really like because I can feel through them really well, but they have a leather kind of palm. And then I wore my DOT Scorpion modular helmet, which a lot of the race drivers, motorcycle racers were wearing modular helmets where they could flip them up and talk to us and flip them back down. I'm sure that's probably not what they're wearing on the, actual, competitive races, but that's what they were wearing that day to train us and to talk to us so we could, they could just flip the chin guard up and it was easier to hear them and see what they were saying. So, I wore a pair of Kevlar single layer jeans. I wore a riding flannel that had body armor and Kevlar lined, and then my Harley Davidson boots, which is kind of what I wear anytime I'm, maybe going to ride a little bit on the edge. Now it was a closed course on the track. Nobody said you can't go over a certain speed, but the course was designed in a way to keep you from, getting carried away. First off, the way they did that is we would line up behind one of the racers, Travis or Kyle Wyman, and he would lead you out and you'd start like four of us going down the road behind him. And we'd get to a certain part. He would do this. That means rotate. And the guy right behind him would move off to the left, let the pack move up, and they drop to the back. So every lap, someone else got to be right behind him and learn his line, learn from him, and he would set the pace. There was a place before you get to the backstretch where there's the monkey. They would make us come to almost a full stop, and then we would take off into the backstretch. And then halfway down the backstretch, they made us stop and do U-turn exercises so we couldn't get too carried away on the speed. So Monkey wants to know, but where were you wearing under all that is what we want to know. Boxer briefs for everybody that needs to know.
Gotta have proper airflow.
Yes.
You don't want to overheat out there.
You want to make sure you keep everything where it belongs when you're shifting around on the seat like that. So they had a crew there that took pictures of us and filmed, and we got to keep those assets and use them for the videos. Miss Monkey was asking about the paint, so I took some pictures and was sending her messages from the racetrack. She wanted to know what the paint and the carbon fiber looked like on the bikes and stuff. So, that was kind of nice just to be able to share information real time with people, being one of the first people to see these bikes and stuff. So it was very, very cool. Now, there were people that bought this bike before I ever got there. John Price called me. He's like, I just picked up my Road Glide ST, man, I want to know what you think about this and that. Now I didn't realize this, but somebody said this, but there's a certain floorboard that Harley has. I think it's the Kahuna set or something, but Robert Simmons mentioned it has feelers on the bottom of the floorboards. So you know what I'm talking about with feelers? Piece of metal that sticks down from the floorboard.
Like a skid plate?
Yeah. Well, from the floorboard. So when you're in a lean and you start dragging that, you're getting close.
Okay.
So, these had those on those. So if you got far enough in lean, you would hear them scraping. My final lap, I know I scraped at least 5 times. But
I saw that picture.
I'm starting to really get the feel for the bike on that track and kind of learn my lines and learn where that, fine line is.
Yeah, there was a picture of you, I think maybe Facebook, where you were lean. I mean, you were getting at it. You could tell you were just about ready to scrape.
Yeah, I might have been, but it was very, very, fun. I mean, riding on the track with Kyle Wyman and Travis Wyman was probably my favorite part. The Valley of Fire was beautiful, but that's something, I could go back and do. Getting on the racetrack with those guys is, hopefully not a once in a lifetime experience, but it's a pretty amazing experience.
Now, the Wyman brothers, did you ever find yourself behind them and you're like, get your ass going, man? I mean, did you ever, were they slowing you down ever?
Only when they needed to, because we're not supposed to do anything crazy on the racetrack.
Come on, guys. God damn it. I'm trying to go.
Well, let's put it this way. I think they gauged each person's abilities, and by the end of the day, they kind of knew how much they could, let you stretch a little or not. So.
Which is cool. Yeah. I mean, because I think you mentioned there was, everybody had their own level of riding, And so that's
Right.
good
And
that they were able to keep you guys all safe.
right. And we were,
yeah.
yeah, we were very much about ride your own ride. So Road Rush says, does the ST have a governor on it? Its max speed is its max speed set at 115. I don't know that I can answer that because I did not get to 115 to confirm that. It was not mentioned in any of the documentation that I saw or recall, but that doesn't mean it's not maybe in there somewhere. But you know, I've heard that now. And for people that don't know, since like 2018, I've heard they've been putting a max speed governing on the bikes. So full tank says 120 on the ST. So and I don't know if right now as far as Harley Davidson knew, only their tuner will work with this bike. That doesn't mean aftermarket won't. That doesn't mean those things may not change. I'm assuming that's an electronically controlled speed governor that's actually a speed governor, not an RPM governor. Otherwise, when you would build more power at a lower RPM, you might get more speed. So I think that's a speed limitation, not a power limitation. But the bike is amazing to ride, and so Road Rush said her SGS maxes out at 115. Now, my understanding that started in 2017 with the Milwaukee 8s. My 16 has been tuned. And as far as I know, there's no limiter on it other than just what its motor's capable of. So, and I mean, you think about this, we're on a racetrack. Other than the backstretch, there's really no place you need to be running. You were talking about like Kyle or Travis slowing us up. I mean, they were slowing us up in the areas they needed to slow us up so we couldn't get ourselves into trouble. But trust me, there's no doubt in my mind that I was ever pushing them through a corner. Okay. that was never a concern that like they weren't going fast enough through a corner and that I was going to run over them. No.
Damn it.
They knew exactly where we were. They knew what pace was. These guys are professionals, and it was obvious. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to seeing these guys race at Daytona. And the video I put out today, if anybody hasn't seen it, had some really great footage that they filmed there. And, that's really awesome that they make that available to the content creators to be able to get those kind of footage and this experience and stuff. So.
Which brings up a good point. Were you ever able to get a chance to just see how good a riders the Wyman brothers are? Were you ever able to? Did they have any video? Could you, watch them as they raced around the track? Or
check back in 10 days.
Little sneak peek.
That's all I can tell you.
So also, I believe there's 2 different levels of racetrack modes on that bike. Were you in those? And could you feel a difference between the 2?
Yeah. So the CVO Road Glide ST actually has 5 regular modes and 4 customizable modes. And those customizable modes might be, a setup you want for a certain special circumstance or condition or type of riding, or maybe, you're going to let your buddy ride it and you're going to put it in like a rain mode with everything that's set at max intervention. So he can't, ride it too crazy or something like that. But there's 4 customizable modes. And then you have your road, your street, and your rain. I mean, road, one of them, I think, there's actually, I think it's road, sport, and rain is the official names of them. But basically, rain is going to limit the throttle response and have like maximum ABS and traction control intervention to, help you in conditions when you may not have good traction or, for whatever reason, traction is, degraded. Sport mode picks up the pace from your regular kind of touring mode a little bit, gives you kind of maximum throttle, a little less intervention. The track mode is the mode that is the shit. So this was designed with input directly from Kyle Wyman, and I love track mode. I would run in track mode all the time, and not because it necessarily had more power. I don't know that it had more power, but it was very, very well refined. It was designed to allow you to get into the motorcycle, like coming out of corners, but it be stable, not jerky. So like I felt like sport mode, if you cranked on the throttle, it'd jump. In track mode, I felt like when you cranked on the throttle, it smoothly accelerated at maximum without, affecting the handling or being jerky. It was very, very well done. I just loved the way it felt. It made you feel very confident on the motorcycle. You couldn't kind of like whiskey throttle and make it jerk. It just seemed to me like maybe if you really tried, but it was more controlled, and it really, I think, inspired confidence in your ability to ride the motorcycle without it, being concerned that it was going to get away from you.
Yeah. I've never ridden a bike yet that has those features. I'm really looking forward to trying that.
The Track Plus mode, the difference there is it turns off linked braking. So in track mode, linked braking is kind of like a minimal level, but it still exists. But the rider aids are tuned down to give you a little more control. But Track Plus pretty much just turns off the link braking. So I did my last session in Track Plus mode because I really wanted to see what it was like if you were in full control of the motorcycle. And I do think for, most people, track is where you want to be. If you have experience, not riding bikes with linked braking and you're comfortable running the rear brake, the front brake, and the throttle all at the same time as you're setting the bike's geometry and powering through a corner, then Track Plus is where it's at. I enjoyed Track Plus, but it was a lot more work than just running in track mode. The first session out, I ran through rain, street and sport right there on the first session just to see how those different modes felt. And I mean, in rain mode at beginning out, I could keep up because we weren't stretching it out yet then anyway. But it was really, really good. And Track Plus was, a little bit of a challenge. I mean, I was up for it. I have linked braking, but I used to ride dirt bikes, and long before we had ABS and traction control. And so I'm familiar with, working both brakes and all those things. So
now you've got to experience this phenomenal motorcycle. And it sounds like Harley Davidson's hit a home run on just about everything with this CVO ST. Going back to your old bike, I mean, you're going to probably be like, what the hell?
Well, if you've been following the channel, you already knew I was thinking that if Harley brought the shit, that I would be trading up this year. And I definitely see that happening. I just don't know how soon. I don't have money to burn, so I can't just go. I've already had, I wasn't home 24 hours, and I had a dealer messaging me wanting to know if I wanted to burst blue with chrome. The first dealership we stopped in 10 minutes from the airport had one on the floor, exactly like what I rode, on Wednesday. So they're hitting the floors. They look great. I love the new Street Glide. I love the new 117. It has more power. It has water-cooled heads, or liquid-cooled heads, I should say, not water-cooled, but liquid-cooled heads. But only the heads are cooled on that. They focus on the exhaust valves, rear cylinder first, where the heat builds the most. So I'm interested to see how that really feels in the heat in the summer when it starts warming up. But you get rider safety aids, you get ride modes, you get a 117 with water-cooled heads, or liquid-cooled heads, and more power. All these things, the new dash, the new styling, all that stuff for less money than what a Street Glide Special was last year.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So I think they really, really worked hard to bring us some value, new all LED lighting.
And hey, April, let me ask you. So were you able to go, did you go out to the track, and or were you able to go to the track had you wanted to?
No. No. This was just Mike do everything.
You got to remember, we took a bus. It was full.
We knew that from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And so at first it was going to be, I was going out there and never being there, going to figure things out on my own just to go do things. And then my parents decided to fly in, and they got them a place down on Fremont Street. So the first night I just stayed with them after we got off the plane, and then Mike came and got me later. And then the next day with me not knowing in the traffic, my parents decided to come pick me up, and we went and did some stuff. And then we went to the Harley dealer and stuff. And then the last day, instead of going all the way into town where everything is, my parents met me. I drove our rental car to a little casino, Sam's Town, that's outside of all the traffic. And they just met me there and we hung out there. And then I went back to the motel. So, but yeah, we knew I wasn't able to do anything. But I'd never been there and I've always wanted to go. He would never take me, but since he got invited for this, he would go, how that works. So,
but hang on a second. Let me ask now.
Firecracker, apparently, somebody's not been paying attention because she didn't know you were there. She was in Vegas at the same time. Road Rush was.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, and we made it. It was fun.
So, Mike, did any of the other creators bring their significant other?
Not that I'm aware of.
So you're a goddamn rock star.
Well, I just,
right?
I don't know about that. I mean, I just was willing to spend whatever money I need to of my own to for her to be able to go along too. We really try and do motorcycle events together. This was really more of a business thing than like a rally, but it's just what we've done since we've been together in 7 years. And I didn't want her to, she's always wanted to go to Vegas. So I didn't want her to miss out, even if it meant she didn't get to go like do the motorcycle things with me. But
I am really jealous though that I did not get to meet the racers and get autographs. That was the one thing I was like, dang it.
I did get some autographs. I did fanboy out a little bit and some pictures. So Gary wanted to know about the liquid cooling on the cylinder heads temps. They said it's significant. They couldn't give me an exact number for like the percent of heat cooling or anything like that, but they did say it is significant. Of course, we're riding in 70-degree temperatures, so I couldn't really tell you personally how it felt. I never felt like heat was a problem riding that bike 30 minutes at a time as hard as I could ride it. Now, the CVO Road Glide ST does have a rev limiter at 5,900 RPM. The new Street Glide and Road Glides are at 5,600 RPM. So you do get that ST gets out and runs a little harder, a little higher RPM. But I never had an issue with heat riding it at all.
Yeah, Mike, I know that we haven't been able to convince you that Shark Nation is really the only way to truly enjoy a Harley Davidson. So for the Batwing enthusiast that you are, did we learn anything more about a possible CVO ST Street Glide coming down the?
Well, I could tell you, I mean, if money was no limit and I could just pick a bike, then I would pick the Road Glide ST because of the performance and everything else and the features that it offers. Now, being that that's not the case and money is a limitation, then I don't see a CVO Road Glide ST in our budget this year, but maybe in a few years we can pick up a used one. I really am torn between the black and the white. I've always been a kind of a black guy, but the white looks awfully good out there. And a lot of people really liked the way the white looks. So I think Harley's really kind of nailed it. That white has a gold flake in it. It's beautiful. The black has a flake in it. It's raven metallic. It's very, very sharp as well. So it's a tough choice between them.
It's funny that, here they come out with a white and a black bike, but yet both of them look sexy as hell. You're right. I don't know which one I'd pick.
Yeah, well, and I mean, I've got a high-end audio system in my Street Glide, and I never even thought about like messing with the stereo. This bike on the track was just so much fun to ride. You just wanted to focus on that experience. You wanted to hear everything. You wanted to see everything. It was very, very cool. And it was an awesome bike to ride.
So the first day you're out at the racetrack, the first day you get to really get out and do something. And then the following day, I believe you said that you took out the regular Road Glide and Street Glides, and you went out to the Valley of the Fire. Is that
yes. Right? Yep. So Monkey had a question here. I will touch on that real quick. Yep. So the new shocks, if if there's somebody else, they don't say who. They're branded Harley Davidson. They're not branded Öhlins. They are a reservoir shock. They have the gas and the oil separated, using the reservoir system. They set back there between the fender and the bags like an Öhlins would. They are adjustable. The front and rear suspension is adjustable. Showa, that's right. Showa is front and rear. So they're fully adjustable. I think 3 inches in the rear for travel and 4.6, I believe, in the front. So, but they're not Öhlins. And Harley Davidson, I talked to one of the guys who is like really involved. They tuned this suspension for this bike, for this specific motor setup, everything. The same folks that make the front forks. And the front forks are adjustable as well for ride height and for rebound and compression. So very adjustable. We didn't mess with the adjustment of it or anything like that. They kind of, different people were riding the bikes and swapping off and on. And so if they'd had to retune every bike for every creator that got on a bike, we'd have been there all day. But they had a kind of good general setup. And I mean, for me, it worked great.
That's really cool because, typically when you go buy a Harley Davidson, it's so generic. I mean, you got to strip the whole goddamn thing down and put aftermarket parts on it. So it's pretty cool to know that they took the time and the resources to fine tune that bike to be what they wanted it to be. That's pretty cool.
And like I said, they had a guy there that was very involved in tuning that suspension. This bike has direct input. The guys who, were a lot of the guys who were involved in this are also work on the race team. So a lot of the technology in this ST came from what they've learned on the racetrack the last few years, including the optimal intake size. This has got a redesigned intake, a redesigned airflow. It's got, I'd have to go back through the spec sheets. I can't remember it all, but it's more than what you just see. I mean, there are things in this that are really things they've learned from the track. They've also put a 30 tooth instead of a 32 tooth sprocket in the final drive to give it even more acceleration. A lot of people thought it maybe wondered why it didn't get the VVT. So as I understand it from the engineers, having VVT gives you a little more low end torque, but you cannot, it's tuning the bike for you. And you're going to give up some sacrifices on optimal power for peak performance for a racing type environment, which is what this was designed for. So, the 121 HO, which is this motor in the ST, they call it HO for high output, is going to have other performance upgrades available for it. They are advertising, if you look, some of their parts and accessory catalogs, their airflow intakes are rated to 150 horsepower. So what's that tell you? What are they thinking they can do with this thing? There's cams and stuff like that. There'll be more stuff coming, I'm sure. But by not having VVT, I also think it makes it more tweakable for the aftermarket. I think that was one of the concerns with VVT was performance upgrades. I think VVT is going to give you a very good balance for somebody who's not looking to, try and build the fastest bike they can build. Yeah. So VVT gives you the best balance of everything. If you don't want to mess with it and you just want a bike you can get on and go, it's going to give you a very good range, but the HO's maximum power. And they save 2 pounds by leaving VVT out. Everything they did on this ST, they were very adamant about. They did this to get as much, everything they redesigned, they took into account the weight and how they could make it weigh less. The triple trees weigh less, and it's through a different, process of forging the triple trees. I mean, just everything they did. The fuel tank is the same capacity and weighs less, with some changes in the design, things like that. Just everything they talked about. The exhaust are titanium shells with carbon fiber end caps, the carbon fiber fender, and some of those things cut down the weight some. Now, like I've always said, though, in the end, I mean, the best way I'm going to get, save weight is for me to get my fat ass on a diet, start exercising. I can shave 20 or 30 pounds easier off me than I can a bike, to be honest.
Yeah, no shit.
And I need to.
I hear you, brother. Did they give you any tidbits about possibly future plans to make the bike even better? You know, more weight loss, more aluminum parts, anything like that?
Well, Doug, I can't say what they're going to run in the King of the Baggers yet, but I doubt that they're going to run some. I think they ran a 131 last year. I expect it's, I don't think, I think whatever they're tuning and getting out of those bikes on the King of the Baggers is probably, much more radical than the 121 high output.
Yeah.
So I don't expect a change there, but we'll see what they announce when that stuff comes out soon. I know like I said, they've been running a 131. I don't see any reason they would go down to a 121.
And they've got the 135 as well. So
they do, but you got to remember, and I don't know when those rules will change, but the rules were designed for King of Baggers. Like Indian had liquid cooled engine, so they are restricted to a lower displacement than Harley with an air cooled engine. So all those things are in the rule book to try and make the playing field more level. So because Indian had liquid cooled engines, which can usually get more performance, higher compression, they were limited to a lower displacement. So for Harley to start using the 135, they might have to give Indian, it might get the opportunity to go to a bigger displacement, and it's all a battle. So
yeah, because I wondered, why I hadn't heard Indian come out with a bigger motor. Now we know.
First year or two, when King of the Baggers started, I actually went through like the whole preliminary rule book and talked about how some of that was set up and stuff. So fanboyed out a little bit, but I can't wait to see the King of the Baggers race. There's going to be some other cool stuff going on at Daytona. So, on the 117, I want to mention this on the Street Glide and Road Glide also, because we were talking about the suspension. Monkey brought it up on the ST. The suspension on the Street Glide and Road Glide is the preload is adjustment in the rear. The front's not adjustable, but the suspension on each end was retuned specifically for this bike, for its weight, for its setup, and everything else. So the new Street Glide and Road Glide do have new suspension, new tuning, things like that. So Travis asked a question. That's Cornbread here. Did I hear anything about HT, a release of a Street Glide CVO ST this year? Well, first off, they have a very, very strict rule that they all adhere to, is we don't discuss future products. So if you ask them if they're going to come out with something in the future, that's just kind of the answer you get. I can tell you that I spoke to someone high up in the chain, and they would be very interested in the feedback from my channel about if consumers would like to see a CVO Street Glide ST. So yes, that'll be coming in a video, and we'll ask that question and we'll let everybody comment on it. I really thought that might be a question I ask in the Street Glide video, because in the Road Glide video, I'm probably got a lot of people that are already leaning toward the Road Glide that are watching that video or are familiar with it. The Street Glide audience that really wants the Street Glide and watch that review, I wanted to see if those guys would be like more adamant about a CVO Street Glide ST, or were they even care, or were they disappointed there wasn't one this year?
That made me think the Lowrider ST is getting a lot of traction, especially with younger riders. I wonder if that'll be down the pike as well, where we see a CVO ST, Lowrider ST.
I think we could. I think like all things, there's ebb and flow to products they come out with. What's hot right now, what the economies, will hold, what they can do or not do. Touring's been a focus for them for the last few years. I think the economy's been rough, and that was a bike that, helps them stay afloat, and it's popular. And I think, to be honest, I had somebody comment on the video today about it's still too heavy. Okay. How many other baggers do you know out there that compete with this bike. I only know of one that really competes with it, and that probably specs wise still beats it. And that's the BMW K1600, and it's got incredible power and lightweight. But it has its own, I won't say flaws, but maybe cons, dealership network, maintenance, other things, the look and style. It's more of a sport touring look. It's not the cruiser look. So, but I think, we used to see CVO wide glides and deuces and things like that. So I think that we will see CVO soft tails again. Just maybe something they're not doing as much of. Like they didn't do a CVO tri-glide last year that I recall. And they had done that kind of like, that was a staple for several years. So I think we'll see some of that stuff again. But I think right now, Harley's during this economic time have kind of, simplified the lineup, simplified what they're offering and what they're really dressing up, to the things that are most popular. I mean, the CVO is a lot of money, let's be honest. Yeah. So which audience has got the most money and which audience is most likely to spend the money on it? The younger riders that are into the more performance ST style bikes, or the old guys who've sent all their kids off to college and have more disposable income, which is generally the truth.
Was there any talk about money, their financial situation and why they were coming up with price points where they were? Was any of that discussed? Probably not.
Well, maybe a little bit of things, but I mean, so let me touch on this. So there is not a 117 variable valve timing. There's a 121 variable valve timing in the standard CVO Street Glide and Road Glide. Then there's a 121 HO non-VVT in the CVO Road Glide ST. There is no VVT in anything except the 121 that is in the Street Glide and Road Glide CVOs. The question was asked, about 117. Again, we can't comment on future products. It's the answer. I will tell you, talking about like the money and their choices and things, that I talked to an engineer at dinner and he said, realistically, the things he's working on right now are things we won't see for 3 or 4 years. So this bike has been something they've been working on for 3 or 4 years. So for the last 3 or 4 years that we've been bitching about not all LED lights and not this and not that, they've secretly been saying, God damn it, we're working on it.
Yeah, they've been laughing at us, son of a bitch.
It's coming. Calm down. It's coming.
Relax.
But I think, I can't say as to why the pricing is what the pricing is, but I think they knew that they could bring this bike and they could offer it this way at a price. And they know that they didn't, they put a real effort into getting the price right and the features right. And they're really proud of where they're at on it. And I think, I'm proud of it. I think it's a great direction. I think the value is more value for less money. And with this economy, I'm actually, pretty impressed that Harley Davidson made that move.
Me too. So if you want, I'm interested about your next day and what that kind of consisted of, because I believe you went out to what they call the Valley of the Fire or something of that nature.
Yep. So
it's supposed to be beautiful.
Oh yeah. So when I talk about the Street Glide, you'll see some footage of that. But we had breakfast, loaded up on the bikes, rode out. I was near the front in the first leg, right up by Traveling Tall. By the way, Traveling was second tallest. He was not the tallest guy at the event.
Matt got him.
Matt got him by about an inch, half inch to an inch. He doesn't like to talk about it. I would not get on his channel and comment on being the second tallest. But he swears that, when you live on the East Coast and you fly west, you get shorter. There's something that happens on the airplane.
Yeah, okay.
But so we rode out. We stopped after about an hour. They had a truck that came along in case there were any problems, but they also brought a cooler with water. So every time we stopped, there was a chance to drink some water, take some photos, things like that. And then we turned around and headed on out and actually went into the park where the Valley of Fire is. You have to, it's like a state park, and I think you're supposed to pay, but they had a permit. They took care of all that stuff. We just kind of waved and rode through as a group, went out, got out there for early kind of, I think it was like 11:30ish for lunch when we got there or whatever. They had a little lunch. We all got to sit and visit, take more photos and stuff. Went up and looked out over a big overlook and took some more photos. Then we rode back. There was a service road that we kind of pulled off on, and they had a crew there that could like take some shots of us riding for the videos and stuff. So you'll see somebody with a much better camera, much better photographer than me in my video, kind of like the one today. And then we turned around and went to Lake Mead, I believe it was. And we kind of got there just at golden hour. And we got there, it was a little bit cloudy, and, you know, it was nice and everything, but the lighting just wasn't perfect. And then the sun popped out, and I got some real bangers on that burst, on the blue burst with the sun shining off of it and the chrome with Lake Mead in the background. So it was pretty nice. It was pretty cool. I'm sure if you watch, you know, Matt Laidlaw and Be the Boss and, you know, Traveling Tall and all these other guys, Ryan, they will have some great footage and some great photos. They're probably a lot more skilled photographers and videographers than I am. So
did either of you make it out to Hoover Dam?
We didn't. I didn't go out that far.
Okay.
If she did, she went with her boyfriend and didn't tell me about it.
Damn. Is that
tell them about our arrangement with your gambling. What was the arrangement if you won, honey?
If I won enough,
yeah,
then I told him I'd buy him the bike he wanted, but I had to win enough that I was able to buy myself something too.
I was going to say, you'd have to be able to buy your bike too.
Yeah, she didn't tell me that part, but I don't think she was all that worried about buying me a bike. You don't go to Vegas. You know, I mean, you may go to Vegas thinking you're going to come out rich, but the odds are against you.
Especially with the little bit of money that I had to go on.
Here's our buddy Jamie from Bucyrus, where the men are men and the cows are afraid.
Right.
So Doug says, so rumors of a new frame for the touring bikes for 2025 is just a rumor. As far as I know, they're just a rumor. I don't know I mean, people have been asking for a monoshock frame for the touring bike for years. And I'm not saying that they aren't working on it. There's not a prototype for it or something else, but I haven't heard anything that I felt was substantial enough that it made, you know, worth making a video about it. You know, just because somebody says it in the comments, that's, you know, not really enough. It's hard to predict. Some of the things I've read in comments came true. I'm not saying that they don't, but I can't base a video off of a comment on YouTube other than to say, hey, what do you think of this? Do you think it could be, would it be something you'd like to see? You know, that kind of thing. So you're not going to buy one of these newer models. Let's just say 87 Ricer that we're getting new rubber on the Dyna right now. Back tire's done. I got to put it on, get the front tire off, get it changed, do a fluid change on it. The new settlement seats on it, the new shocks. I got the correct studs for mounting the shocks in. So it's OEM suspension, but it's going to take off, but they're going to go back on it. And I'd like to have the Dyna running and rolling and all tested out by the end of March, because there's a good chance that there's a 16 Street Glide in vivid black going to be on the market.
Minus the painted fairing.
Yeah, the painted fairing doesn't come with the bike. That's garage.
The original goes back on it.
Yep.
Mama wants to keep that paint.
Yeah, that's going to be wall art.
Yeah, that was always the intent, was to keep that. It's got our friends on it. So.
Yep.
Yeah, Vegas isn't built on winners. Well, I don't know how much we added to the pot, but we made our donation while we were there.
Now I gotta tell you, I'm a little disappointed they didn't try to do something to get you guys down to the Strip. I mean, that's really what Vegas is known for.
Yeah, he didn't even get to go to the Harley dealerships. I did.
Yeah, we didn't.
I made it to one.
We didn't do anything in Vegas proper. I mean, besides land and go to the resort. But You got to remember, I mean, traffic, and you're dealing with, 15 or 20 guys. We took a shuttle bus into the track, took it back, all rode together. You got to logistically, how you going to arrange that? And if everybody goes to eat, are they all going to want to eat the same place, or who's going to wander off? And what happens when it's time to go and you can't find one guy?
And I can tell you right now, at first we thought might have some free time to hang out with me when we first got there, until he got his itinerary like a day or two before, I think it was. And I was like, so if you get done early, are you going to come hang out with me? He has no desire to go down there, no desire. The only reason he went is because of that. So, and to be honest, I'd rather, if he has no desire to be there, then he's not going to want to hang out there. He's going to be rushing. And so I'd rather him just have his own thing to do, and I can go do that.
Well, here's what needs to happen. We're gonna have to create a reason to go out to Vegas. And
But
I'll show you the real Vegas.
We may be going without Mike because he has no desire to go.
Now he'll want to go. He'll want to go if I'm the leader of the pack.
You know where all the good strip bars are?
I know where some stuff is.
Hey, I found all the wedding chapels. I drove by the Pawn Stars play. We drove by it. But I could have got my picture with Chippendales, and then there was guys with like chaps that I took pictures of and all kinds of stuff. And I did find one of the strip clubs too.
So, which leads me to, do you have any one particular thing, April, that stands out about your Vegas experience?
So, not ever being there, we drove the regular main street or whatever. We didn't stop anywhere there. My parents were staying at the Golden Nugget. They liked hanging out at those ones. Fremont Street was really neat, like walking down through there, and you have women dancing on the bar and in their fancy things. I was like, I feel like I'm at Sturgis. But
right.
But I mean, we kind of hung out on Fremont Street. So I didn't see a whole lot of stuff there, but I mean, I had a good time just hanging out. The main thing was I got to spend time with my parents and, do something that I've never got to do before.
Hey, did you see that?
Yeah, cool.
There you go. Now you got a buddy to go to Vegas with. Her daughter lives there, so.
I don't think I told you this, April, but I told Mike. I said, when you go downtown, which is where Fremont is, you got to go to Hogs and Heifers. That's where the concept of the movie Coyote Ugly was created from, and that's a good time.
See, my parents they're not.
Yeah,
like,
they're probably
the things that and my mom's, she has a really bad knee, so she couldn't walk a lot. So just walking a little bit down Fremont Street and stuff. So I did talk to some of the girls, and I was like, next time if he goes, then us girls are just going to get us a motel downtown and just go hang out if we want and do some stuff. So
yeah, Vegas is pretty cool for about 2 nights.
I love it when I get comments like this. Somebody's commented on a video. I guess for Harley's have a different definition for chicken strips. No offense, but they will mechanically crash on its structure long before reaching the potential of lean angle. I guess you're referring to pushing your luck on a Harley. Bro, I've wore the freaking tread off the side of a Harley before I have the center. You can talk all the crap you want, but it all depends on the tire. Now, I'm sure sport bike tires have more lean angle, more side and stuff like that. But, and I'm not saying that, it's a sport bike, but, you can wear the sides off of the tread of a Harley tire if you ride in the Ozarks, without, crashing on its structure because it doesn't have enough lean angle.
Oh, yeah.
And you'd be surprised how much lean angle you get out of a bagger, especially if you jack it up a little bit and get a little more floor clearance in the floorboards. I used to ride with guys on Dynas and Softails, and they couldn't keep up in the curves because they're dragging their shit, and I'm sliding through and not dragging because they're taller. So, just things like that. I mean, I'm not comparing the Harley to a sport bike. I'm just saying that I'm wearing the sides off the tire. I'm riding on the edges, not the center. But somebody's always got to be the well, Harleys aren't made for that.
Yeah. So always got to be one out there. God damn it.
There's more than one, but I don't understand why they watch Harley videos if they don't like Harleys. I mean, I don't watch Honda and Suzuki videos about bikes that I'm not interested in, just to knock on them.
Hey,
it's that jealous thing. They got to,
Hey, they asked, one of them asked if you mentioned the show in St. Louis this weekend yet. Yes,
I did in the very beginning.
It.
Briefly, yeah.
Yeah, we'll be there Friday night for the builders party.
Yeah.
We were hoping to get Randall on the show before it happened, but that didn't happen this year, maybe next year. But we will be at Cycle Showcase on Friday night, hanging out at the builders party, be there on the show Saturday day. And me and Firecracker are hanging around Saturday night. I don't know if we're going to the Pinup Bowl or we're doing something else, but we will definitely be around there Saturday night hanging out, and then we'll take her out for lunch before we come home on Sunday. Jamie says I'll be there on Saturday.
Yeah. I've already heard from a couple of people in town that they're going to be there. So I'm hoping to catch up with everybody.
Well, Doug, the CVO Road Glide ST only comes in black trim, so I wouldn't have to worry about picking in that case. But, the black trim is growing on me in certain configurations. I have to admit, that white Road Glide CVO ST with the blackout motor and it works. It looks good.
It does.
So what other questions you got for us? Do you want me to touch on the navigation thing? Because there was a lot of confusion about that the first couple of days. Or do you think everybody's got that under control and figured it out?
Well, let's see if anybody chimes in about that. But the question I had for you was, during certain sun glare, did you ever have trouble reading the dash?
High contrast mode.
Okay.
So you're not going to have that problem. I put it on high contrast mode because I was wearing sunglasses and then I had a tinted shield also. So I had 2 layers of shading. So I put it on high contrast mode just because it made it easier for my eyes to focus on it. I wear glasses to read, but I don't need them to drive. But reading that dash is a little closer. Putting it on contrast mode just made it more focusable for my eyes. But when I would look down at the dash, but the display, nobody ever complained or talked about not being able to read it. It's a TFT display. It's got anti-glare reflective, components or capabilities, however you want to put it. So the thing was great. The display was great. The Android Google sucks on that spectrum. Yes. I'm not an Android fan for my own reasons. For years, I've not been an Android fan from the early days. But yeah, the issue is really Android stopped supporting Android Auto. Google stopped supporting Android Auto for 2-wheel vehicles. Now, I've seen people say that they've been able to make it work with some kind of dongle and this and that. I don't know how they're doing that because, my understanding was Android Auto just doesn't work on the new models. And that's, whatever it is. What Harley supports is built-in navigation. It's $350 one-time purchase if you want it. And it includes real-time traffic updates, real-time weather, and map updates. And the navigation stays enabled after the 3 years. The 3 years is really about covering those real-time update costs and stuff because it's using Wi-Fi and cellular to get those things. So it's, anytime you put a cellular device or something like that in a bike that can get real-time traffic updates, you're going to have some cost. And that's what the subscription model is about, recouping that cost for them. But, if you're an Apple CarPlay guy, boom, you're good. And somebody said, oh, you got to buy a $400 Cardo. Well, I personally recommend Cardo and I love Cardo, you don't have to. You have to have a Bluetooth headset. There are people that claim they were able to activate it using AirPods, So and that's an Apple requirement that you have to have something with a headset or a mic to talk to it so that you're not trying to touch the screen. It's a safety thing. And we got DeBeard in the house. Do you see that? DeBeard's here.
Ah, there we go. New Jersey.
Sneaking in here, taking a peek, seeing what we're talking about.
Yeah.
87 Ricer's going old school. He's going paper maps and just following the person who has navigation. You got some fans in here, man.
You know, DeBeard, I've been on YouTube for a couple years now. You guys need to get your ass out here for Lake of the Ozarks Bike Fest and then Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue. Those two beautiful ladies that you get to hang out with, I think they'd have a blast down at the lake, especially, don't you, Mike?
Yep. So talking about me ripping on his Android, well, I think it's important for people to understand that the Android Auto problem is not a problem Harley invented. It's a problem they inherited. You know, they're trying to make something work. They're trying to offer options. Are they perfect options? Well, I don't know that they're perfect options, but it's not, you know, it's not a problem that they create. It's a problem they're trying to solve, you know? So I just want people to understand that a lot of people think it's like Harley stopped supporting it, and it's not. Harley had anything to do with it. And I knew about this back in August on the new CVOs when I did the ride at Sturgis.
So as far as this CVO ST, Mike, is there any one thing that stands out that you're like, I wish they'd had this? Because it looks like they've answered most of our questions.
And I don't know that the CVO Road Glide ST is the bike that needs it. The one thing that they don't have yet that I would like to see Harley do is compete with Indian on the electronic preload adjustment shocks for touring. You know, not having to adjust the preload manually because you got a passenger or because you throw a bunch of bags on, being able to pop on, get into your dash system and say, the weight today is this, or add 40 pounds and the preload adjust for that. I think for touring bikes, that's a huge thing.
I agree. Luggage, put your tour pack on, take it off.
The Beard says, I know we need to get back down to the Ozarks and BBB. Come on down. We'll be there.
God, we'd show him a good time.
We'll take him to the cat house and we'll show him what a wild time is like in the Ozarks. So they just need to put on Wilbur shocks. Never an issue. Wilbur shocks are not cheap either.
No.
Oh, did we get Tiffany Renee in here? Yeah, Tiffany Renee is in here. She was on the ride with us. So it was nice meeting you too. Welcome to the channel. Thanks for coming and hanging out and saying hi. So I mean, that's really kind of, some people want adjustable windshields. I don't care about that. I've seen it on the Indian implementations. It didn't do much for me. I've heard the implementation on Honda was better. Maybe if I saw a really good implementation of it, it would change my mind. But it's not really bothered me in the past with a good Clockworks windshield. There'll be windshields coming for these bikes. I hear that as soon as a month from now, Clockworks may have a Road Glide ST, Road Glide CVO style windshield. Don't know about the Street Glide. They're working on it, but maybe in a month we'll have the Road Glide windshield already. So I'm hoping to see that at Daytona. But
what did you think of the seat? I'm hearing that the seat, they've actually put a seat on it that you may not have to get rid of.
I didn't ride it. I mean, I rode the Street Glide all day and I didn't have any problems with it, but I wasn't terribly critical of the stock seat on it when I first got it. Now, after 40,000 miles, it was broke down, but they did redesign the seat. So you're not going to have backwards compatibility. This new seat is a little bit narrower for people that are vertically challenged to make it easier to touch the ground. Some other things, it was designed, the bucket kind of a little better. You know, that's what they say. I didn't spend hours testing it like they did, so I'm going to take their word for it. But I didn't have any problems with it. But it is going to be an aftermarket compatibility concern. That, I reached out to Saddleman, but I haven't heard back from Buddy to see if they have a plan on when they might have a seat for it still. Were they significantly upgraded? I can't say that I felt that they were significant, but again, I'm a guy that rode the stock seat for 20,000 miles, and I probably the biggest reason I changed it out is in the screen, because we were going to go to Sturgis, and she didn't want to ride on the back of that little ass seat all the way to Sturgis. So, my ass, I guess, is tough enough that it didn't make that much difference to me. I've gotten used to the touring seat and stuff, but I didn't have any complaints about the seat. I can tell you that in the first, full day of riding. I mean, we rode pretty much from, 9 to 5. I mean, it was getting dark when we pulled back in. Of course, we had lunch and a few scenic stops for pictures and the look and stuff.
When I in the corporate world, when I've had like awards banquets and that sort of thing and trips, you're always worried that they're going to inundate it with bullshit meetings and stuff that they might enjoy, but we don't. It sounds like they did a really good job of minimizing that sort of thing and really just concentrating on you getting on the bike and riding it.
Yeah. So we did have a technical presentation. It was hour and 15 minutes. They trimmed it down in the part they presented to get us the most important things before we went and got on the bike, but they gave us a full copy of it with all of the information so we could go back and review that. So I'm going to say that, did I get to ride the CVO Road Glide ST? Hell yeah, I did. You're going to have to follow the Riding in the Ozarks on Instagram or something. I've been posting the shit out of pictures of that CVO Road Glide ST, and I dropped my video today if you want to see my thoughts on it and the specs on it. The things that I wanted my video to be a little different. A lot of people come to me for details, so my video was more my thoughts about it and the specs that they did, what they did do, my thoughts, what it felt like riding it, what I liked about the track mode, things like that. So I got a video out today. If you want to see it, for some reason YouTube's not showing it to people. It's actually underperforming. So that's just YouTube. It is what it is. Maybe it's because there's so many of us putting out videos right now on the same topic. Yeah. It's hot, so there's a lot of competition. But I can tell you that the CVO Road Glide ST, if they gave me one, I'd ride it. And I'm not a shark nose guy, but I'd ride it.
Oh, it's since he went there. That is one thing he has totally changed. Like before he was no Road Glide, and now he's like, yeah.
I could ride that.
It'll bite you on it.
And every night when he would come get me or I'd get back, he'd get back or whatever, he was just so excited to tell me about his day, and he had a great time. So I'm glad he got the experience to go, and he really enjoyed it. And
so I'm going to try and share a couple pictures here. We'll see if I can share this stuff on the screen. Since Tiffany said, great video, by the way. Thank you very much. DeBeard said wants to find the video, but I'm going to see if I can share some of my Instagram posts with you guys. There we go. So that's the black bike. I'm not all the way down. You can see the little feeler down there. See it?
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm not quite down on the feeler yet, but I'm getting there. I got into the feeler plenty. This one, yeah. I'm really close. I don't know where I'm at, but I'm really close.
That's the picture I was talking about earlier where, man, you were leaning there, brother.
Yeah, I don't know where I don't know how close I was, but I was close. I know in that turn that I dragged, multiple times that day.
That's a picture that you might even think about
framing and putting on the wall in the garage.
That's a badass picture. Yeah.
I think I made that my cover photo on Facebook and stuff. It's pretty well, it's a very high quality photo. I mean, if you zoom in, there's a lot of detail in it, but just the angle and the aggressiveness of the stance, it I think really highlights a lot of things about this bike.
Oh, hey, if I can interject real quick, you know what I think would be cool, and obviously they don't need it, but I think on the race bikes, they put that drip pan underneath it. I think if they would put that under the CVO and paint it the same as the body color, I think it'd look sexy. You know
what I think would be cool? If they were going to put some kind of skid plate or drip pan or anything underneath here, you could paint it to match, but I'd put a big ass right there in the middle of it. So when you got her in a lean, everybody can see it. That's what I would do. So thoughts, did I get to ride the Pan America CVO? Didn't even see one. They did not have one there. This press event was really about the Street Glide, the Road Glide, and the CVO Road Glide ST. They didn't really cover any of the other bikes or talk about them. Probably were not the target content creator for the Pan America. I've spent a little time on one, but not enough that I'm going to be nearly as knowledgeable about that as I am the Street Glide and the Road Glide and the CVO Road Glide. Yeah, Salty says that is a kick-ass photo. Now, I'm going to give you guys Salty Badger here. I haven't got to meet him yet, but we're going to get to meet him this weekend, Firecracker. He's going to be at Cycle Showcase. He's been building a bike for Cycle Showcase for his son, or working on it with him or whatever. He can tell us more about that maybe in the chat in the comments, and we'll see him there. But yeah, cool. He's got some skills. Very the Harley photographers were very, very good. They made us look really good. Yeah, I'm the same way. It's the only bike that is even has me thinking about a shark nose. If they made a CVO Street Glide ST, I'm afraid that would be, I would probably be reaching for a scalpel to see what I could get for a kidney on the black market. I'd sell my liver, but nobody wants that wore out thing. I've scraped boards in the Ozarks with Miss Linda on the back. She almost peed. Yeah, it's not that hard down here. No. We were talking, and maybe it's just a difference in the environment and riding and stuff like that. But this getting down the turn like this is not that unusual around here. No. People are talking about, like, I've never seen a bike lean that much and stuff. And, I mean, if we get into Highway 62 going from Rogers to Pig Trail, we scrape, just running the speed limit.
Yep.
Well, you scrape.
Okay. Well, that's because I'm running the speed limit.
Not around those curves, you're not. You're scraping.
So here's a comment. Is it worth turning the copper CVO into an ST? To be honest, what I would do is I would just get the copper tins and put them on an ST. I wouldn't turn the copper. I guess if you want all the other bells and whistles like heated grips and all those things, then maybe if you want the best of both worlds, I'm going to tell you, I guess it depends on what you're buying it for. I mean, I love for my bike to make me want to turn around and look back at it when I get off of it. So if that copper is what does it for you and money's no object, then absolutely. Unfortunately for me, money's an object. So have I seen the ST upgrade package? I have not. I've seen upgrade packages, but not like an upgrade package to turn into an ST. But I have been very busy trying to get some content out for you guys since I got back. We got back on Thursday night, didn't get home till 10 o'clock, had to work Friday. I didn't get to sort through my footage of my videos until Friday night. Saturday, we had a collaboration video to film and a bike show to go film. And so Sunday was the first day I got to start working on videos and everything else. And I didn't even really get to work on the videos much Sunday. I had to re-download some footage. I realized I had some problems getting some footage off some cameras. I was able to get it all, but I had to jump through hoops to do it. So I pretty much put that video out that you guys saw today by working from the time I got home until almost 12 o'clock, 12:30 when I went to bed last night. I came home and I spent 7 hours just editing once I'd gotten my footage kind of in place and knew what I wanted to do. So I have not had time to look and do much else.
Now, Mike, I think I asked you earlier off camera, but so obviously it sounds like you had a great time and would want to do this again. Was there any talk? Did anybody message, get a hold of you and say, hey, we'd like to have you back for future events or any of that kind of stuff?
Well, and I think those things are going to be something they're going to make a decision on as it gets near the launch. And depending on what they're launching, it may make a difference in what channels are there. I mean, I think guys who ride touring bikes and have audiences that are interested in touring bikes are the guys you want to invite to a launch for touring bikes. Sure. If their launch is all about the Pan America or all about the Nightster, I might not be the best content creator for them to have there. So, and I wouldn't blame Harley for that, in any way, shape, or form. I feel privileged to get to go. And this trip was very much business. We didn't go sightseeing. We didn't go down to the dealerships. This was about riding the motorcycles and getting those experiences in so that we could share those things with our audience. And, YouTube is a hobby for me, but I do take it very seriously, and I try and give you guys the best content that I'm capable of, although that's not saying a lot. But I still try and make sure I stayed focused on collecting information, reviewing the information, filming. I got shots of Apple CarPlay. I was able to make Apple CarPlay work with my Cardo. And as far as I know, I'm the only one that did that on the ride. Because if you see Apple CarPlay in someone else's video and you see Chris Stapleton on the radio, that would be from a Burst Blue Street Glide. That would be mine. I mean, and I'm fine with that. They all come over and say, hey, can I film that? Do you mind? I'm like, no, because they didn't have a unit they could get it hooked up with, or they had not taken the time, and I already had it hooked up. So, I got it all synced up going down the road.
Hey, I have to disagree. This is not a hobby for you. This is a third job for you because it is a job, very much job.
I mean, I work at it like a job. That's for sure. It doesn't pay like a third job maybe, but I mean, people think I got the perks like this are much better than the pay, but, to be honest, I could go flip burgers at Burger King probably for the time and hours I put into it and be money ahead.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have near as much fun doing it. I do enjoy it. I do put a lot of effort into it.
Things that we used to go and do together and it was a lot of fun to go do together. It's no longer. I'll be honest. Because no matter where we go, it's not like people recognize him, come up and talk, because we've met a lot of great people, but it is like, I
gotta get some footage of this. And
I'm trying to talk to him or tell him something, and he doesn't have time to talk to me. So that's why I always make sure we got friends with us anywhere we go, because I'm not existent, So
that's not true.
I bet there's ways that you can get his attention.
You had plenty of my attention at Rat Run. You want to talk about that?
No.
Okay then.
No.
Oh shit.
And it's not every event. There are some events I don't take a camera to.
You take a camera to every event. You may not use it as much.
Yes. So somebody did send me a link to the ST package. I think I did see this as a glance. It looks like we got seats, pegs, floorboards, air cleaner, tuner, $2,800. Now the question is, does it give you track mode? Because if it doesn't give you track mode, I don't know that I care. It's got to give me track mode. If it's going to become the same as the ST performance, bagger, it's got to have track mode. Because I'm telling you what, track mode is like oh yeah. Talk about rubbing one out.
Swing.
All day long. Track mode was awesome. Yeah. Jay says, luckily I'm my own boss on YouTube. Otherwise I'd be fired.
Yeah. You guys are fired. I'm assassinated.
Is the white bike a primer or a gloss finish? Oh, this bike has got gold flake in it. It's not a primer. It is very much a gloss finish, but I mean, it's a very nice paint job. It's got gold flake in it. So the black metallic has silver flake in it. If you watch my video today, you can see the flake in it in different places and different things. It's probably showed it off in the black bike a little more because it had that bike set up where we could go over and film content around it.
We never touched on the Screaming Eagle on the side, the silver Screaming Eagle, but I thought that was a great touch.
Yeah, I think they did it in a very appropriate way to give a little touch to the racing aspect of it, but without being too gaudy or too standoutish.
Now,
go ahead, Steve.
I was just real fast. The black one doesn't have any of that. It just has the Fast Johnny.
No, that's not true. Looky there. See the eagle right there?
Oh, okay. It is on there.
Yeah, it's on there too.
Okay,
it just doesn't maybe stand out quite as much.
I see.
It almost just looks like a shadow.
Which is like what they call fading, which I think is cool. I just didn't notice it yet.
That was the banger I took at Fort Meade when the sun came out. What do you think of that? The sun glinting off that at Golden Hour?
That's a pretty good pick, bro.
Yeah. So that's what I spent most of the day on.
I'm a little partial to blue bikes. Sounds like you're kind of enjoying blue bikes.
Blue Burst, baby. It's a hot looking color. A lot of people really liked it.
Yeah, it looks sharp.
All right. Well, we'll take that out of there. We've showed enough of that, but yeah, it was a great time. We had a good time. I think opportunities like this were great. The track was a very unique experience, and I really appreciate having that experience. I don't know. Let's put it this way. This was a stretch on vacation time for us to squeeze this in. It was kind of last minute with the month or two notice, and we'd done a lot of things last fall, and I didn't have a lot of vacation built up, and we were going into a month from now, we're going to Daytona, and I need 40 hours of vacation for that. So I was like really kind of stretching myself thin to go to this. So I put in some extra hours to build up some flex time and some things like that to try and make it a little more achievable. But we committed to it, and we went. And I asked if I should maybe keep a couple of days banked and not, plan all of my vacation time for in the future. And they said, that's probably not a bad idea, just in case. So I haven't been blackballed yet anyway.
Well, I think a smart move on your part would be to go ahead and blow all that time. Don't do that. And then say, but I got a good friend that can go.
I used to have a good friend.
He's got 36 subscribers.
Hey, yeah, we haven't pimped your channel tonight. Can we get you over 40? Are you over 40 yet?
I don't know. I'm 36.
Bagger Baiter on YouTube. Let's go find the link for it. You don't have it ready to paste in the chat?
So if any of you in the chat are not in this world of creating content, watch my channel, and then you get a chance to see what a real professional's channel looks like when you see Riding in the Ozarks. Okay. Rookie, bad.
Hey, you do have 9 videos and 36 subscribers.
I do. I think my number one video's got like 762 views. That's 761 more than I ever thought I'd get.
729. You're pushing yourself.
Damn it. God damn it.
Oh, don't worry. I'm going to get my mind going this year too.
Now you're talking.
See what you got. I think that I pasted it in there. So,
Yeah, it's in there.
yeah, HC's not going to do a documentary on riding in the Ozarks, but I'd love it if they'd come do a documentary on riding in the Ozarks, literally, and like what it's like to ride or live here, the roads here, or anything like that. That would be very cool. Not this riding in the Ozarks, but the actual riding in the Ozarks experience.
Everybody can't believe it.
Holy shit.
We did say
somebody said you're at 41 now. We must have 5 new people in the chat. 42.
God,
look at you go.
We did discuss going to Vegas sometime and us riding, since I didn't get to experience that.
Yeah, we're going out and maybe fly out, do a little bit of downtown, and rent a bike from Eagle Rider for the day, take her out and show her where we rode. Maybe hit Hoover Dam.
Wait. It's not just renting one bike, because I've got to ride my own. I'm trying to mark off states that I've rode in.
Yeah, she's got to ride her own bike.
So it'd have to be 2 bikes.
Well, you're renting your own bike. I'm renting my own bike.
No, you're renting mine too.
See how that works.
One day, Mike, we could have April go to like a beauty thing and get the beauty treatment. And then I could, we could jump on the bikes, and then I'll take you on about a 90-mile trip west to a small town called Pahrump.
Why am I getting left out of this?
Well, because you deserve that.
I don't go get. I don't go get. I don't do the
pampering. Go out to the ranch.
I don't do the pampering thing.
Okay.
So I would like to thank Firecracker for her sacrifice so we can have good content. I'm telling you what, that's for real. She does sacrifice a lot. Y'all don't maybe realize. I mean, there are a lot of nights I spend sitting behind the desk here editing videos.
That's every night. Every night.
I spend a lot of nights behind this. I spend a lot of nights down here working, but it's not always editing videos.
Right. But it's every night. He's downstairs. I'm upstairs.
Well, that may change. I may buy a laptop, and then I can set up the living room.
I cook dinner, let him know, and then he's back downstairs, and I'm usually sitting up here playing on my phone. So that's why I said I'm getting my YouTube channel going this year. I've just got to do it. Just do it.
Yeah.
We'll get you and Road Rush and Tiffany Renee on a ladies' ride or something.
I don't think mine will ever be anything big, but I need to just start putting out more videos.
You know what I'm learning is everybody needs to make their channel, if they're going to start one, make it what they want it to be.
Right.
Just simple. Do it. Make it what you want it to be.
There is another event we haven't talked about that I think we're adding to the schedule.
Homecoming.
Ooh, you thinking about going to Milwaukee?
We are. It's already on the calendar. We're going.
Okay.
She got it cleared at work today. Tiffany Renee said, just start. That's it. That's what I've told her. Your first videos are going to be your worst videos. You just got to keep pushing through them, keep making content. After 4 years, I'm almost comfortable in front of the camera.
Well,
good, because I'm still working toward that myself.
I've had mine 3 years, and I'm not but I don't make a lot of videos. So
right, you just got to get more and more. Even if you record them and edit them and then don't publish them, it'll be good practice. You'll get more comfortable. But yes, homecoming. You know what's at homecoming this year, right? Who's playing the band? The lineup?
Jelly roll band. Red hot chili peppers. Party.
I'd love to see Jelly Roll. That would be badass. Really become a big fan of his. Great voice. Good person. Good messages. Lost a big one today.
Yeah. Toby Keith.
Yeah.
April, she's been approached to have a ladies only bike show here in Kansas City. Let me know if you want to be a part of it. Tiffany, it would be great to have you party also. So you just have to let her know, like maybe when you're thinking about it and if we have anything that weekend or not. She does have a bike show worthy bike. She's already won a couple of small shows. She's not really into the showing it kind of thing. She rides it, but it's a winner.
Road Rush. I do have a question for her. Do you do on Female Ride Day? Do you do a ride for that?
International Female Ride Day.
Yeah, because we are doing one with Switchback Bar that weekend, and we're actually going to ride probably to the Steel Horse Rally. If you're interested.
Yeah, everybody knows when International Female Ride Day is, don't you? You should all have this memorized. First weekend in May.
It's not Father's Day?
No. Father's Day is in June. Listen here, Buster.
That's just me trying to be funny.
Don't be horning in on her holiday.
Shit. By the way, Mike, I don't have any more questions for Vegas.
You don't have any more questions for Vegas?
We covered most everything, unless there's some things that you think of that we left out.
I don't think so. I mean, you can ask if the audience has any more questions. I think a lot of people have come and gone. But if there's somebody out there that has a question, maybe I don't know if Tiffany Renee's set up to get on the live, but if she wants to get on the live, we could get her on here and get her perspective. She was at the event. Tiffany, if you've got if you want to jump into live, shoot me a message on Instagram. I can send you a link. Or if you just want to answer questions from the comments, that's fine too. I don't mean to put you on the spot. But yeah, questions, So, are you at liberty to say if dealerships you deal with is selling bikes at or under MSRP? I wouldn't want to put anybody out there that, without their permission, talking about pricing or things like that. I will say that there are dealerships in my area that have been selling at MSRP this entire time. They do not jack the bike up. They sell it MSRP. They have all through COVID. Now, I've learned some things that, people that maybe opened my eyes. So there's a program where besides just ordering bikes, they're allocated so many bikes, but like these demo bikes or like the bikes we rode where we might only put 100 miles on them, those could end up in dealerships, but they're through a little bit different program. And some of that's an auction system, and they might end up paying more for that bike than it normally would cost them to get one of those bikes through the auction thing. Let's say they only get so many CVO road glides, period. From Harley, there's an allocation method or whatever that is or something. They only get so many, but they might be able to buy more through that auction program, but they may pay more than they would have. And then that's why they might charge more than MSRP for them. So that helps me understand why some dealerships might be paying more and charging more for bikes. But to me, that's kind of their own fault. If they are willing to pay more, and I mean, if other people are willing to pay for them, then okay. Tiffany Renee says, I do, but I can't tonight. I'm not decent. So she can just answer from the chat if anybody has any questions for her. If you'd like a female's perspective on the CVO Road Glide ST, just let us know that the comment is for Tiffany, and while she's in the chat, she can try and chime in, let that people know how that is. But I can tell you that there are dealerships out there that'll sell you a bike at MSRP. That's for sure.
I just pulled up her YouTube channel.
Yeah.
She looks more than decent to me. Just saying.
Just be careful. Her husband's also her editor.
Damn it. All the good ones are taken.
Yeah. What are you talking about, Steve? You're still single. You're a good one. You're just playing hard to get.
Yeah. I picked the wrong one, so now I'm pretty picky.
Tiffany, we will be in Daytona. We're gonna fly in on Saturday morning, get some bikes to ride for the week, and we will be around all the way up till for a week and fly out on the following Sunday morning early to get back. But we are going to Daytona, so if you're there, we'll hopefully see you somewhere. always shoot us a message on Instagram, me or Firecracker, either one. If you got any questions about our agenda, or you want to try and do something. I do know we have one thing on the agenda already, and I was invited to a bikers breakfast thing by another place. Let's see, when's the bikers on breakfast thing? So there's one on the same morning that we have something planned already. So there's another one that is on Wednesday at 8 a.m. because I think our thing is on Monday or Tuesday, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we have a thing we'll be doing Monday or Tuesday already, and now there's a Wednesday breakfast thing. So we might go try and attend that.
Am I lost? Do I know about this other thing?
No, this came in while we were having dinner. We got an invite from Brands That Shine to the Independent Motorcycle Aftermarket. It's the IMA. It's 8 a.m. Wednesday, March 6th. And I think it says here that there'll be coffee and donuts provided. So that's where they had me, was at the donuts.
Yeah.
But it's somebody that I followed on Instagram for a while now. We were trying to find a place where maybe we could meet and just say hi and connect on while we were at Daytona and stuff. So,
you know, I gotta say, Daytona's never interested me, but as I get to learn as I'm meeting more and more people in this culture, I'd love to maybe make it down there.
Hey, it never appealed to Mike before. Never.
Hey, Firecracker, that's, I think, directed at you. So
you got to ride on the beach too. Got to ride on the beach, Mike.
But there is a female ride on Wednesday. If you want to maybe look at participating in that or something, we get some details. We've never been to Daytona, Tiffany, so this is our first Daytona, and we're just kind of winging it.
I booked my flight for Arizona Bike Week. Is there anybody out there going to Arizona Bike Week? Love to see you.
We need to check, Steve. You might have enough fans that somebody, one of your fans might be there. Hey, bro, you're almost at 44.
Holy shit.
So you've at 44, almost hit 45 subscribers tonight.
I can feel
that's
the
like
pressure.
It's like a 25% growth. Now you got to go make a video.
Hey, I tell you what.
All these people, you got to make a video at Cycle Showcase, ain't you?
I'm going to start making some videos that I think are going to be funny. They'll be a little crude because that's who I am. But I've got some stuff lined up that I'm pretty excited about. So hopefully
just don't do anything that's going to get us kicked out of Cycle Showcase.
That's the problem. Might have to spend some time in jail, but it'll be funny.
Really?
Well, as long as it's in Missouri, I can get out. I've got a bail bondsman on speed dial.
I was going to say, you might need to help me over there in Missouri with your connections.
We've got a bail bondsman that can pick us up anywhere in Missouri. We've got connections in that realm. So,
Doug Cox, I'm jealous. Tell you that.
So, right XAM wanted to know if we reserved bikes from Eagle Rider for Daytona. We did not reserve bikes. We had someone graciously offer to provide us with motorcycles to ride when we talked about going to Daytona. And so our ride is compliments of Harley Davidson for the week. I don't know what I'll be riding, anything else, but I do know that there'll be something to get me from point A to point B, and beggars aren't choosers. I'll take whatever they give me happily.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, for us, driving down's 2 days down, 2 days back.
Yeah.
And that eats into a lot of vacation time. So we were talking about flying, but we were trying to figure out how we were going to get, around, or rent a bike or trailer bike, have somebody, haul the bike. And they were gracious enough to say, hey, we can help you out with that part. So it's very cool of them. They can set me up with a live wire. I love my bagger. Don't get me wrong. I love my bagger, but I can have fun on anything on two wheels just about.
Yep.
Shit. You think I can't have fun on a Vespa? You just watch and see. My mom used to have a Honda Silverwing, and that's like an overgrown scooter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I rode that thing at 90 mile an hour.
Shit.
Hopefully, that was the only reason I was going 90 mile an hour because I didn't want anybody to see me on it.
Was that mine? No,
Well, I had to go to the parts store to get parts for a Harley on a Honda Silverwing. It wasn't my Harley.
Riding down the road with a baklava and goggles. And it's
My
like
luck, they'll put me
degrees out.
My luck, they'll put me on a Del Mar and I won't be able to find a charging station for it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Living in an hour from Road, Atlanta, I'm going to the bagger race, pay $90 to ride the track with Kyle Wyman.
Oh shit, Doug, you're killing me, bro.
My dad got to go to see them in Austin. So,
I'm just gonna have to put a hard line in the sand, and if it doesn't happen this year, it's gonna have to happen next year. I've got to go see a King of the Bagger race.
but they're adding more races this year. They're 2 days at all these tracks. And I mean, Kyle's the guy to see.
Oh, fudge.
It was a pleasure to sit beside him and James at dinner and just listen to him talk about racing and the industry and the bikes and how excited they are about this season and stuff.
You know what's cool about Kyle and the Wyman brothers is their family owns a Harley dealership, I believe, in Pennsylvania.
So I don't know if we mentioned it, but Cody Wyman was there too. So Kyle, Travis, and Cody Wyman were all there. Cody's, to my knowledge, not raced any baggers, or at least not like in the King of the Bagger stuff. Travis raced and has moved to the Saddleman team this year and stuff. But they have like a school. And I asked Cody about this and stuff. So they have a thing called Champ U. You can check it out online. I think it's $50 to take the online course. And they teach you things through videos and stuff online to help you become a better rider. But they do have at Champ U some real live event stuff at tracks where you can pay and go ride with them and learn from them at a track, like a 2-day event.
Wow.
You need to find out they're going to be at Kansas Speedway.
Yes.
And I'm going to tell you, whatever it is, it would be money well spent.
Yeah, that had to just be amazing. Hanging out with those guys.
It was pretty damn cool. All right, guys. Do we have any more questions? Mike's got a Vespa. Scooter videos to come. I don't know. We can make some more fun on my channel. That's okay. I'm down. But I don't want to keep everybody dragging on here. So. See, Road Rush already said, Steve, that me and you will be there if it's in KC.
You bet.
It'll be very cool.
Yep.
Check it out, Champ U. I'm sure if you Google it, you can find it.
Yeah.
Changing to 4 wheels. If I get my competition license in March, I'm thinking of buying an old NASCAR and run a few midi races. Very cool.
Doug feels the need for
The
speed.
need. If you're not first, you're last. I know, Chris. I'm just making fun of myself. Got to have a good sense of humor. Can't take anything too serious around here.
Remember,
all right, guys.
It's critical.
Well, all I can tell you is I've got a couple of other bike videos I got to get done also that were in the works before we took to this event, but I wanted to get the CVO Road Glide video out. I was super excited about this bike. I think Harley has truly created a performance bagger from the factory. I'm sure somebody's going to make some performance bagger and say, oh, this is better, faster, bigger motor, whatever. But you got to remember Harley-Davidson's making this for mass production.
Right.
Not custom builds. And
right.
For them to put all of this into this package and be able to offer it is just truly, they've had their eye on the ball and they got it right. So, and I think the new Street Glide and Road Glide is awesome, but you'll see more of that in a video. All right. Well, I think we're going to sign off here. We're down to 30 people. I want to thank everybody for coming out and watching tonight, participating, being part of the crowd. Tiffany, Renee, thank you for joining in and commenting. And maybe, here in a month or two or something, even we can get you on a show, introduce you to my audience, and you can talk about your channel and your experiences or something. We'll put you on here with Firecracker and some of the other ladies and maybe kind of talk up about what everybody's planning to do for International Female Ride Day or something. Y'all take care, stay safe, and we'll see you in the next one. Keep on riding.